Alright, good afternoon everyone. Tutuloy natin yung discussion natin pagdating sa Module 2, the policy process. So tapos na natin yung policy cycle with regards to the three stages, yung problem identification, formulation, implementation. Napapayawan na natin yung policy evaluation and tapos tayo dun sa policy, types of policy evaluation. Ngayon ang pag-usapan natin is on the criteria for policy evaluation. So we have 6 criteria: effectiveness, efficiency, adequacy, equity, responsiveness, as well as appropriateness. So pag sinabi nating effectiveness, we are talking about the units of service. Has a valued outcome been achieved? So na-achieve mo ba yung goal mo? Ngayon, for example, nagkaroon ka ng gusto mong magkaroon ng feeding program. And then, ang goal mo is to reduce the child malnutrition. Siyempre, hindi mo naman ma-reduce yung child malnutrition totally, di ba? Ang goal mo lang is mabawasan. Kung nabawasan yon, yung malnutrition cases, bumaba, it is effective. Ngayon, ano naman yung efficiency? Paano ka nagiging efficient doon? Yung unit cost, yung net benefits, yung effort na required para sa implementation na yun ay mas maliit, pero na-achieve mo pa rin yun, it becomes efficient. How much effort was required to achieve a valued outcome? So for example, yung dalawang syudad, dalawang munisipyo ay merong kanya-kanyang feeding program. Yung isang munisipyo ay naggumastos siya ng 1,000 per child. Pero yung pangalawang munisipyo, 500 pesos lang per child. So mas less cost yung ginastos ng pangalawa. Sino sa kanilang more efficient? They are effective, pero more efficient yung pangalawa kasi mas mababa yung ginastos niya para ma-implement yung program na yan. Adequacy, ano naman to? Ngayon, adequacy is, meron, di ba feeding program? Uh, yung adequacy, gaano karami yung pamilya o mga batang na naging beneficiary ng programa na yun. Did the policy solve the problem enough? So, to what extent does the outcome fix the problem? Say, for example, if the feeding program reduces malnutrition by only 20% of the program is effective, pero hindi siya adequate. Bakit? Mataas pa rin kasi ang malnutrition. So, ang ang goal mo is mabawasan yung cases ng malnutrition, pero ang outcome niya is 20% lang out of 100%. Kunyari, meron kang 100 families na malnutrition na cases sa syudad ninyo. Tapos 20 lang yung families na bumaba. So mababa pa rin. Hindi siya adequate, hindi siya sapat, hindi siya enough kumbaga. Equity. So sa equity pinag-usapan yung fairness. Pero mas malalim pa ang term na equity. Pag equity pinag-usapan yung Pareto criterion, Kaldor-Hicks criterion, and Rawls criterion. Isa-isay natin yan mamaya. So, bigyan ko na lang kayo ng example pagdating sa equity. If only children in urban areas get free meals, but rural kids don't, the program lacks equity. So, may programa kang feeding program, pero ang coverage niya is sa urban lang, wala sa rural. Hindi siya equitable. So, hindi siya fair, hindi niya na-cover yung buong syudad, kumbaga. Paano nga naman kung malit na lang yung budget? Kailangan mong i-assess ulit. Equitable ba yung pre-provide mong program para sa mas marami. So, responsiveness. Paano masasabing responsiveness ang isang policy o isang programa? Responsiveness talks about the consistency with citizen surveys. Bakit citizen surveys? Kasi kung nag-survey ka, for example, kung responsive ba yung policy, yung programa, for example, 4Ps. Responsive ba yung 4Ps? Oo, bakit? Kasi ang gusto ng mga ng mga tao, pera. Paano naging responsive yung 4Ps? They respond to the needs of the citizens. So, kailangan nila ng pera. So, ang ginawa ng gobyerno, nagbigay sila ng pera. Pero may condition, dapat may nag-aaral kang anak, ganyan. So, dapat may dependent ka, responsive siya. Pero, kung mababa ang survey mo sa citizen satisfaction, at hindi mo na-provide yung need talaga nila. Nagbigay ka ng policy pero hindi naman talaga yun yung need nila. For example, meron kang policy para sa environment. Ang gusto ng mga tao ay drainage system. Pero ang binigay mong policy, bawal ang plastic. Ay, wala na. Maganda yung policy pero hindi naman yun yung need ng mga tao. Ang kailangan nila, merong drainage system. Kailangan nila merong malawak na drainage system. Maayos na drainage system. Responsive ka ba kapag nagbigay ka ng policy na anti-plastic ordinance pero hindi naman talaga yun yung need ng mga tao. Hindi naman sa paggamit yung problema, kundi sa kawalan ng ano, drainage system, magandang drainage system. So, yun. Appropriateness. Ano naman yung appropriateness? Appropriateness is outcomes are worthy or valuable. The question is, are desired outcome or objectives actually worthy or valuable? Yung naging epekto, naging resulta ng policy na yun, valuable ba siya or worthy ba siya na nangyari? Kunyari, nagbigay ka ng feeding program sa isang rural area o kaya sa isang munisipyo. Valuable ba siya? May nangyari ba? Maganda ba yung epekto niya? For example, another example, a city builds a huge fountain to beautify the plaza. Relate ba kayo? A city builds a huge fountain to beautify the plaza. It works. Effective siya. Pero, the people ask if it is appropriate compared to using funds for schools or hospitals. So, kung nyari, yung mayor ninyo nag-build ng fountain sa syudad ninyo, tapos wala naman palang transportation sa mga rural areas, hindi ba mas maganda na lang mag-build ng ano to, transportation system para sa mga walang pumapasada sa mga bulubundukin, parang ganun. Hindi ba maganda na lang magpatayo ng kalsada doon sa mga walang mga kalsada? Magpatayo ng tulay sa mga walang mga tulay, sa mga malalapit sa ano to, sa ilog. So, something like that. So, is it appropriate para sa inyo kung may mga ganun? Nakita kayong may fountain, may nakita kayo, pero may nakita kayong lugar na walang tulay, walang kalsada, bako-bako, tapos may fountain sa plaza. Anong nangyari? Is it appropriate? Maganda, effective siya. It provides employment, provides anything. Pero appropriate ba talaga yung policy or yung program na yun na in-implement? So it's up to you. So next is, pag-usapan natin yung sa equity kanina, Pareto efficiency. Pinag-usapan natin Pareto efficiency criterion. So equity criterion. Pareto efficiency. Pag sinabi natin Pareto efficiency or the Pareto criterion, this is the concept developed by an Italian economist, Wilfredo Pareto. Vilfredo pala yun, hindi Will. Vilfredo Pareto, and it is a cornerstone of welfare economics. So, kung i-apply natin to sa policy, a policy is efficient, Pareto efficient, if it improves someone's condition without harming anyone else. Anong ibig sabihin nun? Kung nag-implement ka daw ng policy, tapos nag-improve yung kondisyon ng iba nang wala kang naapektuhan, walang bumababa yung buhay, walang na-harm na ibang tao, it becomes Pareto efficient. Example, sa health policy, a government launches a free vaccination program using existing health budget that was previously unused. Many citizens benefit. Maraming naging healthy dahil doon sa vaccination program na yon, nabawasan na ang mas may sakit. And nobody is worse off. Walang sino mang naargabyado since no other program is cut. This is a Pareto improvement because it benefits people without reducing the benefit for others. So yung universal healthcare system natin, di ba? So lahat ng tao ay magiging PhilHealth beneficiary na siya. PhilHealth member. Kahit wala kang pambayad, bahala ng gobyerno. Mag-register ka lang. Yun yung universal healthcare policy natin ngayon. Pero walang nababawasan sa budget ng ibang programa. So magandang policy yun. Pareto efficient sa. Pero kung meron kang policy, tapos kukuha ka ng budget from other programs, hindi na yun efficient. Pareto efficient. Mayroon nang maapektuhan. Kunyari, magbibigay ka ng free education sa lahat ng kolehiyo, including private schools, pero babawasan mo yung pondo sa public. Hindi siya Pareto efficient. Babawasan yung pondo, mababawasan din yung mga estudyante yung mako-cover ng free education. Kaya nga ang free education natin ngayon ay pang public sa mga state universities. So what about Kaldor-Hicks criterion? Pag sinabi natin Kaldor-Hicks criterion, it is a policy efficient. A policy is efficient if society's total benefits outweigh the losses, even if some groups are worse. So mayroong batas, mas malaki yung benepisyo. May mga natamaan, may mga naapektuhan, pero maliit lang. Ang tawag doon, Kaldor-Hicks criterion. So, mas malaki yung benefits pero maraming natamaan. For example, pag bibuild ng bagong international airport, ang benefits nun, it boosts tourism, creates jobs, increase economic activity. The problem is, some farmers lose their land due to expropriation. Since the overall economic gain is larger than the loss, the policy is Kaldor-Hicks efficient. So in theory, farmers could be compensated from the project's gains. Maraming kunyari, maganda nga yung tourism projects, maganda yung benefit, pero marami nang maapektuhang farmers. Kunyari, magpapatayo ka ng mga buildings sa rural areas, healthcare centers, pero yung lupa ng mga farmers nawawala. So, maganda yung project pero marami din ang matatamaan. Kaldor-Hicks criterion. Although mas marami yung benefits kumpara sa loss. Yun yung principle niya. Maximum principle or the Rawls criterion na tinatawag natin. Commonly, ang tawag dito is maximize the minimum. Anong ibig sabihin nito? When applied to policies, policies should prioritize improving the position of the most disadvantaged citizens. So, ang priority daw ng mga policy dapat ay yung mga walang-wala. Yung mga vulnerable like senior citizens, PWDs, youth, what else? Women, mga children, mga ganyan. For example, social welfare policy. The government expands free college education for low-income families. Even if middle and upper-class students don't benefit much, the poorest students gain opportunities they would never have had. So sometimes yung mga upper-class, middle-class students, hindi sila masyadong magbe-benefit kasi nga kaya nilang magbayad ng tuition sa private schools. Mas marami pa rin yung mga poorest na students na magbe-benefit dun sa policy na yun. So this follows Rawls maximum principle as it maximizes the welfare of the least advantaged group in society. So lahat makakapag-college na. So yun yung principle niya. Alright, so next one, we have, ito yung side-by-side policy illustration. Pag sinabi natin Pareto efficiency, everyone gains, no one loses. Walang talo. Pag Kaldor-Hicks, majority benefits, pero some of them are displaced. Kaya may mga talo, pero mas malaki yung benefits. Konti lang konti lang yung maapektuhan. Gaya ng road construction, mga building construction, ganyan. So, maximum principle. It focuses on improving lives of the worst off. So, yung mga disadvantaged people, yun yung priority ng mga policy na to. Gaya ng free education policies, Child Protection Act, for peace, di ba? Mga maximum principle tong mga to. And even if cost other than more in taxes. So, kahit tumaas yung taxes natin pero maapektuhan, mas malaki yung benepisyo sa mga disadvantaged people, yun ang priority nila. That's the maximum principle. Maximize the minimum, kumbaga yung principle niya. So, policy change. Termination. Bilisin natin. Policy change is the replacement of one or more existing policies by one or more other policies. So, pwedeng palitan yung mga batas, pwedeng i-amend. Policy change includes both the adoption of new policies and the modification or repeal of existing ones. So, there are types of policy change. Una is linear, consolidation, splitting, and non-linear. Pag sinabi nating linear policy change, it is a direct replacement of one policy by another. Example, the K-12 program, direct, ibig sabihin, papalitan yung sistema. The K-12 program replaced the old 10-year basic education cycle. Dati 10-year, ngayon 12 na. The old system was removed and a new one was put in its place. Consolidation. Pag sinabi natin consolidate, consolidation, siyempre i-merge, samahin, merging of existing policies with a new policy. For example, the Universal Healthcare Act, diba? Combine several separate health insurance programs like the PhilHealth, local health initiatives into a more unified system for all Filipinos. Dati may uh, uh, yung PhilHealth para lang sa mga kayang mag-afford. Pero ngayon, dahil sa mayroong Universal Healthcare Act, lahat ng tao meron ng PhilHealth. Pwede nang maging member ng PhilHealth. So, yung programa para sa PhilHealth, programa para sa Universal Healthcare Act, pinagsama na ba? Splitting. Ano naman to? Dividing. So, a policy or program is split into two or more components. For example, the Department of Education programs for elementary, junior high, and senior high were separated into distinct components under K-12 with different goals and structures. Another case is the Department of Agriculture. The case of Department of Agriculture sometimes it splits programs for rice, corn, and fisheries, giving each its own budget and rules. So may programa ang Department of Agriculture, hindi sa iisang policy yon, hindi kailangan ng additional policy. Kunyari may batas para sa mga abono, mga rice. So separate siya para sa corn and rice and then sa fisheries. So iba-iba. I-split nila yung isang policy into different programs. Kumbaga, mayroong isang policy pero iba't iba yung programa niya para sa kanila. Tapos, meron din yung parang sa K-12 program. Yung iba ang pang elementary, iba ang pang junior high, senior high. Di ba? Na-split parang sa situation natin yan, sa system natin, education system natin ngayon. Dati, yung high school, 4 years niya. Ngayon, sineparate na junior high and senior high. Right? So, non-linear. Ano naman yung non-linear? Complex changes involving entirely new policy. Program or organization in the wake of former policies. For example, the creation of Bangsamoro. So, ito mas complex, mas mabigat. Hindi siya isang policy. Lahat ng components ng batas ng ng provisions ay pinapalitan. For example, the creation of BARM, Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. Dati ARM siya, ngayon BARM na siya under the Bangsamoro Organic Law. So pinalitan niya ang ARM, pero it also build new institutions and governance systems and programs, which is a more complex shift than simple replacement. Policy termination. Pag sinabi natin policy termination, it includes agency termination, basic policy redirections, program elimination, partial termination, and fiscal retrenchments. There are types of policy termination. Una is functional, organizational, policy, and program. Pag sinabi natin functional policy termination, it's the termination of entire policy area and covers many organizations and policies. So, for example, the government's past move to end martial law policies after 1986, yung post-EDSA revolution. So, parang ganun yung functional policy termination. Wala nang martial law. End of martial law, kumbaga. This dismantle a whole system of authoritarian decrees, censorship, and military rule, affecting several agencies and policies at once. The second is organizational termination. Pag sinabi natin organizational, within the organization, eliminating entire organization. Diba? In 2013, yung pork barrel system or yung PDAF, Priority Development Assistance Fund, led to the effective shutdown of related implementing agencies and offices managing it after the Supreme Court declared it unconstitutional. Another case under debate is the proposal to abolish of the PCGG or the Presidential Communication on Good Government, which was created to recover ill-gotten wealth of the Marcoses. So, yun yung PDAF, natanggal siya kasama ng mga organizations nung PDAF na yun, iba't ibang agencies. Ngayon, may additional proposal, tanggalin daw ang Presidential Commission on Good Government. What about policy termination? Elimination of a policy when underlying theory or approach is no longer needed or believed to be correct. So, example of policies na na-terminate. Yung Oil Price Stabilization Fund was abolished in the late 1990s during the oil deregulation. Yung dati kasi regulated ng gobyerno ang mga gas stations. Kung anong presyo, SRP, ganyan. Pero ngayon, dahil sa oil deregulation, nawala yung control ng gobyerno sa mga oil industries. Program termination. Pag program termination, it is the elimination of specific measures designed to implement a policy. For example, within the Pantawid, the 4Ps, the government once ended the rice subsidy component. Dati binibigyan sila ng subsidiya na rice in 2019. Nung 2019, tinanggal and then replaced with the cash grants. So, instead na rice, cash grants na lang. The broader policy of conditional cash transfers remain, but one program under it was terminated. Kumbaga, rice dati, cash na lang kasi mas need nila. O, di ba responsive yung 4Ps ngayon. Pero still, may mga manipulation pa rin doon sa mga program na yun. And we cannot uh, become more specific with that. Alam nyo na yung story nun. Alright, so, yan. To summarize it, ito yung mga discussions natin. So, policy process framework, which includes the policy functions, perspectives, and competencies. Policy cycle naman, yung problem identification, agenda setting, policy formulation, legitimation, implementation, evaluation, change, and termination. So, if you have any question, you can comment down your questions in the comment section and then we will try to answer it. Alright? Pwede nyo din akong i-message sa messenger. Yun lang. And thank you so much for listening.